Hello everyone, this is World Exposure. A new study in the UK by the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists claimed that an unborn baby cannot feel pain until about 24 weeks because the nerve connections to the brain are not yet fully developed. Now, they also claim that after the 24 weeks, unborn babies are in a state of continuous sleep like unconsciousness or sedation. Now, this is strange because research on fetal pain in the United States, all the way back from the 1980s, would contradict these claims. One of the leading researchers of fetal pain, Dr. Stephen Zielinski from Oregon, has testified in front of Congress stating that an unborn baby could feel pain as early as 8.5 weeks or earlier and is even capable of crying under certain conditions. Zielinski, plus a doctor who is also a professor of anesthesiology and an attorney, were the top researchers whose studies concluded that the fetus feels pain, wrote in their findings, "Functioning neurological structures necessary for pain sensation are in place as early as 8 weeks, but certainly by 13.5 weeks of gestation. Sensory nerves, including nociceptors, reach the skin of the fetus before the 9th week of gestation. The first detectable brain activity occurs in the thalamus between the 8th and 10th weeks. The movement of electrical impulses through the neural fibers and spinal column takes place between 8 and 9 weeks of gestation. By 13.5 weeks, the entire sensory nervous system functions as a whole in all parts of the body." Now, Dr. Zielinski and his researchers' findings are even backed up with further research by Dr. Anand of the University of Arkansas Medical Center. His findings have shown that unborn babies can feel pain as early as 20 weeks and are very likely to be extremely sensitive to it during the gestation of 20 to 30 weeks. Now, I know this study doesn't go as far back as 8 weeks, but it's much earlier than what the RCOG claims. Now, Dr. Nant says his findings are based upon multiple lines of evidence, not just the lack of descending inhibitory fibers, but also the number of receptors in the skin, the level of expression of various chemicals, neurotransmitters, receptors, and things like that. Dr. Nant also says that later-term abortions, such as partial-term abortions, would cause severe pain. Someone else that has confirmed in front of Congress that there is fetal pain is Dr. Jean Wright, who is an anesthesiologist specializing in pediatric critical care medicine. She says that an unborn fetus after 20 weeks of gestation has all the prerequisite anatomy, hormones, neurotransmitters, and electric current to close the loop and create the conditions needed to perceive pain. In a fashion similar to explaining the electrical wiring to a new house, we would explain that the circuit is complete from skin to brain and back. Now, you know that's funny. None of these findings are in line with what the RCOG claim. And speaking of the RCOG, Dr. Richard T.F. Schmidt, past president of the American Obstetricians and Gynecologists, says it can clearly be demonstrated that fetuses seek to evade certain stimulation in a manner which an infant or an adult would be interpreted as a reaction to pain. The state of Nebraska has even banned abortions after 20 weeks due to fetal pain. National Right to Life attorney Mary Spalding Balch tells LifeNews.com about the Nebraska law. She says that although it will be a case of first impression, there are strong grounds to believe that 5 members of the current U.S. Supreme Court would give serious consideration to Nebraska's assertion of compelling state interest in preserving the life of an unborn child whom substantial medical evidence indicates is capable of feeling pain during an abortion. By 20 weeks after fertilization, unborn children have pain receptors throughout their body, and nerves link these to the brain. These unborn children recoil from painful stimulation, which also dramatically increases their release of stress hormones. Doctors performing fetal surgery at and after 20 weeks now routinely use fetal anesthesia. Now, when the pro-abortion people told Balch that unborn babies cannot feel pain until later on when the nerves reach the cerebral cortex, Balch just put them in their place by educating to them that research since 2007 of the consciousness in children without a cortex from birth shows that the connection of the nerve to the cortex isn't necessary to feel pain. She explained to them that the subcortical plate fulfills that function to where the nerves from the pain receptors link at 20 weeks.